Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, the interview series with your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru, back again, this time with welterweight prospect Eric Nighttime Nolan. 3-1, just off a highlight victory at CFFC 116, literally just earlier this month. Unbelievable performance, dude. I was there in attendance. I mean, you put listen, you know how to sell them tickets, and you know how to, pack the place went crazy, dude.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. Every time I fight in AC, I call it my home field. That's like my home field. So whenever I fight in AC, I pull a big crowd, and the fans are just like they're electric. They know how to get the place bumping.
Dude, it's you that knows how to get the place bumping, man. Come on. That type of performance I think is one that's, that's the one. Those are the ones that are going to get the, UFC's eye, right? That's kind of your ultimate goal, no?
100%. I've dreamed about fighting in the UFC for a long time now, so that's where I want to be. 100%.
Who would you say, like, you maybe like find draw from for your style professionally, maybe that fights?
That's a good question.
Think
my
about it.
my style, like I've noticed. Well, I've noticed that like each fight, my style is like slowly developing and getting more better, like fight by fight. I'm still a rookie in this game. Actually, like just ended, I guess you could say, my rookie year. I fought 4 times this year, but each
Yeah.
fight, I work on something new, and I'm constantly evolving. I would say I started off as a straight wrestler, then I just developed this, like I just became naturally good at striking. I fell in love with it. So I would say kickboxing, wrestling style. I guess kind of like a Kamaru Usman, I guess. If I had he's a good kickboxer / wrestler. Yeah, that's who I would go with.
I think
that's awesome.
I think that's a good choice. That guy's a fucking beast. So,
Yep.
having the wrestling in your back pocket, which I see you, often go to, right? You want to put them against the cage, you want to grind on your opponents and use your cardio also as a weapon. At least that's what I've seen from your fights as well, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and once again, congratulations on that huge victory. And that was right before the holidays, so just in time for a feast. You could enjoy your spoils. How was your holidays, man? Did you get to enjoy it?
Yeah, I'm actually in North Carolina right now. I came down, visited my mom, so I'm with my mom and my siblings down here right now, just enjoying the week off. I drive back up to Jersey soon, and then it's back to the grind.
Back to the grind. That's awesome. What did Santa drop off? Anything special? You got anything good?
Honestly, I just asked for this win. That's all I asked for.
I know. I was gonna say that too. Like after the dub, right? It's like you really don't think of anything past the day of the fight, right? You don't even like plan for life past that. At least that's like kind of what I've heard.
No, I didn't even like plan on like I knew I was coming down to see my mom, but I didn't have anything planned or nothing. I was just like, let me get past this fight, then I'll think about it.
No,
That's
that's
great.
important, man. And listen, and it shows that you're focused, right? Because you had a last minute opponent change as well. How was it dealing with that?
That was it's happened to me before, so I guess that I wasn't as worried about it. I mean, the kid I was training for was tall, long, like striker, so I definitely plan on using my wrestling a lot more. And then they gave me an opponent that has pretty good wrestling defense, cage defense, and a lot of experience. So I knew going into the fight, I was like, I'm gonna have to let my hands go. It's something I've said fight in and fight out, like I'm gonna let my hands go. I'm gonna let my hands go, and it's just never, the opportunity was never really there except for my first pro fight. And then you saw in the second round, I just was like, wrestling's getting tiring. I'm just gonna start hitting them. Started to work.
Yeah, it's actually funny.
Yeah.
I was actually in attendance for your debut as well. Now that I was looking at it, Shane White Eagle. But yeah, you kind of start to see that in the second round. You really start to hurt him, man, on the feet. Like you seem to have power when you connect. Is that, something that the training partners have said as well?
Yeah. Like I never was a boxer or like kickboxer, none of that. I wrestled my whole life, right? And then, but I just became so fast, like addicted to striking. Like it's been something I want to train every single day. Like I'm so eager to learn how to strike. And even in the sparring room, like my partners are like, dude, you're really creative. Your strike. I have fun with it. I just I just really enjoy it. And my partners say, they're like, dude, when you like find your rhythm, like you're really hard to stop. And I found my rhythm right in the second round.
You really look like you are. You're kind of slipping and moving. You hit him with a couple shots. He's stunned. He doesn't know where he's at. You're precisely picking your shots. You're not over swinging. You're not throwing yourself out of position. You're making sure you connect with your shots. At least that's something I noticed, especially in that second round.
Yeah, I would say one thing I definitely noticed is it looks like in your evolution as a striker, it seems like you're much more fluid with the kicks. I've seen you love the front kick. That one leg kick you landed really seemed to crush him. That it landed on the rear leg and against Agidi, and then man, those head kicks too. I mean, I was really impressed for a guy coming from Dante Rivera, more of a grappling background. You could definitely see the evolution that you've had as a kickboxer.
Yeah, I put a lot of time into it. It's one of those things that it's like, if you put the time into it and you really are like I look forward to going to striking classes and stuff like that. I've been working for this camp. I mean, I have Coach Ash, who's been my striking coach since day one. He still is. But then I started to work with Carl Roberson, he's a UFC. He's a really good striker in the UFC, and I just kind of like started to mimic what he does, and just like he showed me some things, and I just practice it over and over and over, and then whenever I fight, whatever I do in training just comes to life in my fights.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Carl Roberson has that kickboxing background as well. So he's somebody that's very slick on the feet and fairly good at being that full MMA fighter, mixing it all together. So that's actually a pretty good guy to be getting work with. So another, fellow Neptune Jersey boy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
So
how did you get yeah, you go TB if you want.
yeah, I was gonna say, how did you get into training MMA to start with, and how was it that you ended up at Dante Rivera's gym? Did you start training there?
No, so I took my first fight while I was in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And as I was getting out, I was I was a martial arts instructor down in Quantico. This was like a position I had for a short amount of time, where it was like, okay, like I'm about to get out and transition. And then I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Cowboy Fight Series. It was like 5 minutes, 10 minutes for my base, and I was like, you know what, I'll sign me up. And I messaged the guy. I was a little drunk. I was like, yeah, I'll fight. And all I did for that was I hit the heavy bag. I wrestled around with some other Marines, and I ran a lot. And that's all I did for that fight. I won. Everybody was like, where the hell did that come from? And I got out of the Marine Corps, and I moved back to Jersey, where I'm from. And I was just like, I need to find somewhere to train. Like, where am I going to go? And this gym right here, Apollo Nutrition, they're in my hometown. And the owner I became really close with, he pointed me to my coach, Ash, who coaches at Dante's. And then the rest of the story is we keep running.
Wow. That is super interesting. That's actually crazy that you you were drunk and what were you drinking that night?
Sorry, you cut out for a second.
No worries. I asked what you were drinking that night that you decided to fight on Cowboy Series.
Oh, a lot of Coronas.
A lot of Coronas. I like that. That's funny.
A lot of Coronas.
Is that usually your poison of choice? A beer?
I would say I'm on a big Corona wave right now.
On the
Nice.
Corona wave, I can dig it.
With
I'm
nice
I my
lime.
I was gonna say my bitch boy beer is a Miller Lite when I'm drinking light cheap beer. So I don't blame you for a
Nothing,
Corona.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Listen, when I
Awesome.
was in the Marines, I was drinking everything. Like whatever they gave me, I was drinking it. So
Understandable, dude. That's now that you mentioned that, I want to say a couple things. I want to say thank you so much for your service. It means a lot to us Americans and really everybody. So thank you so much for that. And I wanted to know, what did you learn exactly from your Marines military experience, and what of that have you pulled into your fight career?
well, I'm thankful I have a coach that reminds me every day. He's like, dude, like this is just a fight. Um, you've been through way harder stuff in life, and a big a big life transition was me going into the Marine Corps and doing real world shit. Like I actually have to like when you're training in the Marines, like you got to think like life and death. When you're training for a fight, at the end of it, you're going to be okay. Most 99.9% of the time. And no, I just think back to like when I was in the Marines, like how badly I wanted to fight and do something with what the Marine Corps gave me, and give back to them in
Mm.
some way in the future. So I always think about that. I get a lot of Marines that reach out to me and they're like, dude, you're such an inspiration. Like, we love watching you. Like you're really inspirational, and it makes us want to go out and do things outside of the Marine Corps. And that's what it's all about. My brothers and sisters I served with, like I really do this for them. They cross my mind every time I'm about to fight, and a lot of them appear in the stands and I don't even know until
Mm.
after I look at my messages and I see that they're like, yo, we're at the fight, like you killed it and stuff like that. And that's the stuff that means a lot to me. I said it at the end of my fight. I was like, if you don't have something to fight for, then what's the point? Having something to fight for, the veterans, all of the military, but the Marine Corps specifically, like it really makes training for a fight like more like I train with a purpose every single day because I know that, these boys are counting on me and I want to represent them to the best of my ability.
That's so beautiful, man. When does that motivation transition to too much pressure, though? Do you mind me asking that?
Um, so like you said, you were at my one fight I lost by split decision,
Correct.
and that was it was another. I got the opponent like 2 weeks out, and I knew he was good, and I gave him a little too much respect for my part. But that it wasn't so much like I could beat him is what beat me. It was the pressure. I had a lot of
Mm.
people messaging me and like because I just had a great performance the fight before, and
Yep, that November.
like my ego wasn't blowing up at all. Like I make sure I stay humble in victory or defeat, and that wasn't what got me. What got me was like all these people that are actually believing in me, and like the pressure I felt it on that fight. And then after I lost, I was like I'm not going to be the guy that almost made it. And I just kicked it. The next day, I drove all the way back to Dante's, and I trained that morning, and I trained with my coach the next day after that, and he was like, "Yeah," he was like, "This shit's not a joke to you no more, huh?" And that kind of hit me, and ever since then, I'm ready to go on a tear. I'm ready to get into the UFC, um, and I'm ready to represent my people, my Marines, my college, my home state of New Jersey. Like I have three big represent like people I love to represent, and
Yeah.
I'm just so excited to see what the future brings me.
And that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. I feel like you have to take it step by step as you build up who you are as a fighter, and learning to handle the pressure and channel it into a positive thing. It's obvious, man. You have a lot of support every time you go out there. I didn't quite remember fully, and when I went back and was watching the tape on your last fight, I was like, oh my goodness, that's right. Those nighttime Nolan shirts with the wolf on it, and like, I just remember so many of those in the stands when I was there. I was like, no, what? I mean, this guy's got such a great supporting cast, and dude, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be propelling you right to where you're looking to go, man. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I gotta get better with my merch drops. I always wait last minute, and I mess it up. But I'm working with a guy I call a really good friend of mine, Richie Lewis, and he has like this thing set up for me that I just started talking to him about. So we're gonna get some like good quality merch, weeks before the fight. I'm not gonna have to rush it. Aren't gonna be in the stands without it. Because if everybody that was there for me that night in the stands was wearing the shirt, it'd be half the arena. They'd all have a shirt if I did it right. So that's something I'm working on.
That's excellent, dude. What do you think what's next for you? How quick are you looking to get back in there?
March. March
March.
is the next CFFC card.
Is
I
that going to
love.
be back in AC or in Philly?
I think it's in Philly.
Guys, we'll do everything in our power to be there.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys, but I want to stay active. I mean, I fought 4 times this past year. I want to fight another 4, maybe 5 if I could get in. I mean,
Oh,
what it takes. I mean, I feel like if I get a couple more finishes, the UFC is not too far away.
no, no, definitely not. Especially at a premier promotion like CFFC. You're super young. You're exactly what they're looking for, and exciting. They like exciting, and I think you've got that.
I
Definitely.
appreciate it.
Now, a couple house cleaning questions here as we wrap things up. We got to know a little bit about the personality behind the big time fighter here too, man. I mean, listen, not me over here. I got my dog. I take him on a walk all the time. Guru, he's got his cat. So it's like, would you say you're more of a dog guy or a cat guy? What do you think?
Perhaps a bird or a
I'm more.
lizard.
I am more of an animal in general, but I have two German shepherds downstairs right now that I love them to death. I'm definitely more of a dog guy, but I will say, like, dude, I just love animals, to be honest. Like,
Yes, that's the right answer right there. Quite honestly.
Very true. And I guess last but not least, before we let you get out of here, you said you enjoy the Coronas. How about anything that maybe New Jersey's recently legalized? Do you enjoy any of the chronic, perhaps?
what do you mean?
Well, listen, here on Chronic Combat Conversations, yes, the fight game is chronic. It is constantly going on, but we happen to enjoy a little bit of the greenery every once in a while. Is that
Like
something that
Dr.
you
Dre, Snoop Dogg.
I don't have anything that a lot of my friends, smoke up. It's not something that I like do. So I'm not
not for
nothing
you?
against nothing against it, but it's
To
just not.
each his own. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
Uh,
no judgment here. Really, the only fighter that we've had on that was like just full blown for it was Matt Frivola. So
yes.
everybody else has kind of been more maybe drinking occasionally or kind of abstaining.
Listen, if anything you'll learn about the Marines is we could drink. So, but
That's
There
I'm
we go.
fight camp. I do not drink. I go on like a full cleanse, and then afterwards I get bombed. So that's that time. I go straight sober, and then I'll drink after a win.
Well, we'll have to buy you a drink at Tommy's or something before you hit fight camp.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, man. Well,
That's awesome, man.
hey, just as a wrap up here from Chronic Combat, we hope you guys had a nice holiday season. And before I throw it over to Eric for the last word and to give a shout out to whoever he needs to, Guru, do you got anything before we head out?
No, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope following up, I hope you have a wonderful New Year. Stay on the lookout. We're dropping our year in review podcast coming up. And Eric, any sponsors, anything you'd like to say or add?
Hey man, I thank all my sponsors, DJs, Nerd Focus, Gianni's Pizzeria, Thrive Sports Spine and Rehab. Um, all my sponsors. I thank you guys. I really wouldn't be here if it was out without your guys' support. I'm looking forward to doing some big things in the very near future. My coaches, Dante, Ash, George, Carl. Thank you guys for all the time you put into me and my teammates that push me to get better every day. Most importantly, I want to thank my family, my friends, everybody that supports me there, and the Marines, any military member that's watching me. support and make for you guys.
Thanks so much, Eric. We really appreciate that. And make sure you enjoy that dub, man, because we got another one incoming.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care, man.